Inflation may be rapidly cooling, but there's one area that continues to eat away at all of our budgets.
Yeah, for sure. Joining us in studio this morning is Dr. Dietrich von Wiedenfeld, an assistant professor of business at the University of Houston, to talk about those stubbornly high food prices. It makes you dread going to H-E-B, Kroger, wherever you go grocery shopping. I don't even want to go.
It is frustrating.
Absolutely, and some of this residual aspect from our spending, we didn't really pay attention to it. We got all this PPP stimulus and we had checks coming in, and we said, well, you know, let's put some of this aside. We'll have some small luxuries. Well, now it's coming back with a force, and so some of the things are still residual challenges from COVID, where people were stocking up on food or otherwise anticipating longer than normal times or periods where they'd be trapped at home. Some of this is related to weather, right? In the legal world, force majeure events, where we say it was a warmer 2023, so people might have said, hey, we're going to go grill more. And all those things coming together with drought, with the conflict continuing in the breadbasket of Europe, Ukraine and Russia, all of these factors come into play when we think about these higher than average food prices.
And they just keep going up.
It continues, and so even with retail spending going down, we know that we have the opposite of the tragedy of the commons, and so we always think about the bullwhip effect, this idea where the suppliers are getting a little bit delayed reactions from consumers, and so they're anticipating these things. And most people, when they think of the tragedy of the commons, they think of people overgrazing. But as we get more sophisticated, a lot of these farmers are really agricultural engineers, and they're saying, you know, if we produce fewer cows, we reduce our risk of loss and increase our profit margins as demand increases. So there is a little bit of that anticipatory aspect, but again, we go back to some of these ideas about soy and wheat, some of those industrial or bovine food products coming out of the breadbasket, not being readily available. We continue, the governor declared a drought declaration again in December of last year. So we still have some of these persistent environmental and weather impacts, but also then, we've talked about before on this show, the lipstick effect. We've had these ideas where people are saying, I want some small luxuries as interest rates rise. So instead of buying pork purchasing is down, beef purchasing is up. So as we see that misalignment of values, we say, oh, we want these small luxuries, or, you know, it's still warm, let's go out and grill a steak, or Texas, brisket country.
So then that creates this trickle-down effect, because obviously groceries then transition to restaurant prices, because you need the groceries to make the food at the restaurant.
Absolutely. And restaurants are going to feel this more substantially than the consumer because of how they purchase products and the other aspects of their sort of business operation. Personnel. Grocers, they get the meat, you go out, you walk it to yourself. Even now, you check yourself out at the front. So a lot of this self-service aspect is cut down on the costs of doing business. But for restaurants, finding workers is still a challenge.
Okay, we're out of time, but quickly, any end in sight of when these will start going down, not just stop?
Let's get this conflict done in Ukraine and Russia. Let's look at that seasonal market.
Okay.
But this year, it's still not looking great.
Let's make it over eventually. All right, Doctor, we appreciate you as always. Thanks for your expertise.
Let's check it.